Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Let's make some little faux birdhouses. Springtime stuff. I'm ready for spring. I don't want any more cold weather and snow. Okay, so these particle board, whatever you call them, planks from the Dollar Tree. I've had them forever, and every time I seen them, I would grab up about 3 of them. And I have bits and pieces left from different projects, so I'm going to use the Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and the ones that weren't already white got 2 coats. The ones that were already white just got a light coat on them, and of course I cut them to look like houses, give them the picket top on them. I marked them each at 2 inches from the tip, and it really, just to find the center point, and then I went back through and did a little cross so I knew where the center of it was. And that wasn't really important for this step because I was thinking more like I was putting the perches on, but in reality I needed to do the holes, the faux holes first. So you don't have to, you just make one little mark where the 2 down, and then just eyeball it. And that is a cap from my inhaler that I'm using to make the circles. So anything can be a pattern if you just look around. So anyways, I'm going to paint those black. And that is simply jet black from Apple Barrel. I did have a video segment where I showed you what it was, but the paint wouldn't come out, and I accidentally hit the stop button instead of the pause button, so I just cut that part of the video out. But it's just jet black from Apple Barrel, almost a Cracker Barrel. Anyway, make all your holes, your faux holes, and I used my Gartol, I guess is how you pronounce it, miter shears to decide how big I wanted the roofs to be. And they ended up being 1 3/4 inches, and I needed 10 of those because I have 5 houses. I should have made 6. I thought about it. I should have done 6, but there really wasn't a lot of room left on that plank to do 6. But if you did 6, we could have done, put SPRING on it. But I didn't. It's something I thought about after I got it done. But this is adorable. Absolutely adorable. So it didn't really need anything. And I also didn't distress it because I wanted it clean, like springtime. Everything coming in fresh and new. So I didn't put any distressing on it. But if you make this, you can do it however you want. And it would look really nice distressed also. So I just picked out some cute colors, and I was going to use black on one of them, but I ended up using the Martha Stewart Pearl. I don't know what the name of the paint is. I did show it there. I just showed you some springy type colors that I picked, and I debated on that too. Do I make it black and white, make all of the roofs black? But I decided against it. I wanted it very springy looking and nice. So there's an overhang to the front. I left the overhang to the front of the houses, and I don't know if I showed it on camera or not, but I actually put the overhang onto the back of one of the houses and had to pick it off and then pick off all that darn hot glue. But I don't think I was on camera when I did that. I'm not 100% sure. So the greens, I ended up with 2 greens, but they're different. And I thought they were different enough, to get away with it. So I put 1 on each end. And, I could have used a different color. Say you could have, like you did it. Anyways, here I'm just finding the center, coming down a little bit from that faux hole where I'm going to put the perches. I'm going to use I say perches, it sounds like purchase, like you go to purchase something. The perch. So I'm going to use a skewer to cut down. I'm sorry you hear my dogs come rushing down here making snorting noises and stuff. Sorry about that. Anyways, I'm going to use the skewer, and it is a bigger one. It's not like the ones that you get from the Dollar Tree that are real thin. This is a thicker one. I'm not sure where I got it. Could be Walmart. Could be a flea market. I'm just not sure where I got these particular big ones. So anyways, I drilled a hole. I made sure that the hole was just smaller than the perch, than the skewer, sorry. And now I'm using Crafter's Closet adhesive from the Dollar General. And if one didn't go in that hole, I just didn't have the hole quite big enough for the one that I skipped there. So I go back in and just make the hole just slightly bigger. Just big enough to get that in there. Of course, you don't want the holes to be too big or your skewers won't stay in. So when I drilled these, it did tear up some of the particle board underneath. So, seeing I was getting ready to put some that Spanish moss on there, and I forgot to paint my perches. But anyways, this is where it tore out some of the particle board under, you know, the holes I put for the perches. And when I painted the perch, I painted the tear outs so that you can't tell that it ever tore it out. So I'm just taking a tiny bit of Spanish moss and sticking it around that perch, which would be, you know, like it's coming out of the hole, as in a bird's nest. And I have a whole bag of that moss somewhere and I cannot find it, so I just barely had enough bits and pieces to make this work. And I thought, what a time to not be able to find that when I'm trying to do little birdhouses. So anyway, after I clean up that mess, then we're going to glue these to the, I keep calling it a plank. I don't know what else to call it. So anyways, I decided I'm going to use floral moss on the bottom there for greenery. And so it was okay for me to leave my houses laying flat, and my plank, and I just simply used hot glue to glue all these down. Tried to really be cautious in the amount of space in between each one. I wanted them to be even and not look out of place. So after I get all these down, then we're going to do the Spanish moss. It's not Spanish moss, it's floral moss. I had some reindeer moss and I didn't know the difference between reindeer moss and floral moss until today. I don't think I've ever used it like that before. I've just stuck it in a plant here or there. But there's definitely a big difference. This stuff was sticky and kind of moist, and the other stuff was really dry. So I just used a little bit of both. Well, kind of a lot of bit of both. Anyways, you're just going to glue it down. And I couldn't show you me doing it because I don't have that much workspace that I can actually be in front of the camera. So you're just going to put some hot glue down and put that floral moss down until you think it looks good. So I did in between the houses, along the sides, and the fronts. So now I'm taking some of the Dollar Tree lace ribbon, and I took a long piece, cut it in half, and then cut it in half lengthwise, and then I don't know what I'm saying. I got a long piece, cut it in half, and then cut it in half lengthwise. There you go. So that I could make a messy bow with some raffia from the grass skirts that I picked up last year sometime. So I'm just going to do a little messy bow here and kind of keep it, you know, neutral, light. And you could have put a little bit of raffia up underneath the perch or around the perch. you know, it would go good with the nests also. Now I thought about putting a little raffia bow on each one of the houses, but then I decided just to make one big messy bow with it and put it right under the tallest one. So I'm going to use a little piece of twine, and I'm going to tie that up in the center. And I had a little bit of trouble first. When I did get it tied, I'm not sure if I cut that part out or not, but it was way lopsided. Like I had way too much on one end, not enough on the other. So I ended up having to cut that twine apart and redoing it. Yeah, so this is where I just went off camera and fixed it a little bit. Redid the whole thing. And, you know, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my fingers here lately, tying bows. I've had a lot of trouble with the next DIY. A lot of trouble with the bows, getting my fingers to, not getting my fingers to work, but getting my fat fingers to, you know, hold where I need them to hold and pick out the center of the bow where I need them to pick out the bow. I just haven't been working with my hands much. I need to do some hand exercises or something to get my dexterity back. But anyway, so I decided on this one messy bow underneath the perch. And then I'm going to tie a twine bow, and I ended up cutting that footage out for some reason. But anyways, it's just a plain twine bow. That's it. Bow. So it was nothing fancy. I just a shoelace bow is all it was. So here it is. Looking all beautiful. And it is very, very cute. Very cute. There's where I used the flash so you could see the colors really well. And here it is. It's going to look really cute on my hutch. Right there, it's on my freezer. I don't have good staging area. My house is really dark on one side and really light on the other. So it's a very lopsided house. It sets the back door is south and the front door is north. So I only have light on the back of the house. So anyways, I think this turned out really great. I had a really fun time making it. It kept my mind occupied, and that's all I ever want. So if you're new to my channel, I hope you'll consider hitting subscribe. Yes, I have a dog begging behind me. He will not stop. He thinks I need to go upstairs right this moment and let him out, even though he had plenty of time while I was just up there. Okay, I got these two signs from the Dollar Tree, and I'm taking Scotch-Brite and I'm scratching it up really well because it's just plastic. And if you really want your paint to stick, you can use Scotch-Brite or sandpaper, and all you have to do is scuff that up. Now this was totally useless right here because I'm going to use scrapbook paper, or actually cardstock. And I was painting away, and I thought, wait a minute, you're going to just put cardstock on this anyway. So I just made sure there wasn't any paint bubbles or ridges or anything on it. Finished it up with what was on my paintbrush. And anyways, I'm going to paint both of those completely white. And then I picked out this piece of, it's cardstock, but I'll say scrapbook paper. And one side has small stripes, the other side has the larger ones. Go on, Leo. Get out of here. So I'm going to use one of one side and one of the other. And I guarantee you my dog is fine. He's just decided to be annoying right at the wrong time. You can't really explain to him, hey, I'm busy doing a voiceover right now. Anyways, I'm just going to use my glue stick and stick that down. I wished I would have cut it a little bit smaller because I had a little bit of trouble, you know, cutting it down to the size of the... I always go a little bit extra. When I cut scrapbooking paper, I always cut a little bit extra so I can sand it off. But this, after I went through the trouble of trimming these, then I realized I probably didn't even have to do that anyways because it was going into a frame. But that's what you call not paying attention to what you're doing, or getting too much into my music or something. But anyway, so these already have hangers on them, as you can see. I got these two succulents from the Dollar Tree, and I picked, the label came right off of one and kind of stuck on the other. I know I could heat it up, but it's such a hassle to plug my hairdryer in. I don't like to have my hairdryer going with my heat gun. They're both on the same circuit. They'd be plugged into the same outlet. I just don't like to do stuff like that. I don't know. Anyways, I'm using chalkboard paint from the Dollar Tree, and I painted both pots even though one was already black. I wanted them to match. I wanted them to be the same color. And there's Leo in the background right there. Being good at that point. Not today. Not this time. He quieted down after I clicked my fingers on him, snapped my fingers. Anyways, so I put the bigger succulent on the smaller stripes. It didn't matter one way or another. Just put your best foot forward however you feel like doing it. Now, this pink burlap was terrible. I hated it. It's real stiff, and as soon as I wanted to cut the wire off of it because I didn't want that big of a bow, so I wanted to cut it in half. So I cut the wire off of it first, and then I cut it in half, but it was like, I don't know, so dry, so stiff. And when I cut it, first of all, I didn't cut it even. I made some mistakes on it, so I trim it down a little bit. But the pieces, like when I go to bend it into a bow, it's just so stiff. It's so hard to work with. And then pieces just kept coming off of it, just kept popping up, and I had to keep trimming it and trimming it. Especially, I think the second piece was even worse than this one. But I used a tiny little zip tie, which I wished I just would have used twine on it, because this, I don't know, I just did not like that ribbon, that twine. What is that? Burlap. I just didn't care much for it this time. So now I need to get the ends of the bow. What do you call those? The legs? The feet? I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I needed a piece for the center. And when I glued it, it did not want to stick. It kept wanting to pop back up. And it was, like I said, it was just so stiff. So anyways, I glue a piece around the zip tie so that you can't see that. So that's the piece that goes in the center. Hindsight, I would have made it totally different. But anyway, now I need the legs. I don't know what you call it. Do you call them legs? What do you call them? I'm going to dovetail them and then stick them to the back to make it look like it's all one piece. Yeah, what do you call that part of the bow? I don't know. But it was just so stiff. So I'm sorry I'm out of frame there. I'm just gluing those two pieces to it without, trying to avoid burning my fingers. So I'm going to stick that up in the corner. And then I have this little sheer polka dot ribbon, which I believe I got at Walmart. And I struggled with making a bow. I was on the struggle bus with this DIY. Turns out really, really cute though, really romantic. Shabby chic, is that what you call that? So I was going to put it there, but then I decided not to. Then I found this really cute white ribbon in my stash that I didn't even know I had. And then I decided to do the bows a little different. Then I was going to make that kind of a bow, and then I decided not to. So I take up the two rabbit ears, flipped them around each other, which I seen Cindy from Monarch Mom DIY I've seen her make those, and it was a lot easier than the way I was doing it. So once I got the white ribbon, then I took the polka dot ribbon off and was like, well, should I leave it on there? Should I not? But I ended up with just the pink one and the white one on the corner. And then eventually I'm going to put the polka dot one on the succulent itself. Yeah, well, I guess I'm doing that sooner than I thought. It's because I went ahead and made the other one in the meantime. I think I did it off camera. So I want y'all to know I appreciate you watching. Please come back. I'm a little late on my video. I try to have one every Monday morning and every Thursday morning. And I ran into some stutters this week with the bipolar depression. But I'm here, I'm back, and I'm trying to stay positive. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe.